Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from. Welcome back to my YouTube space. I am the Kenyan Beast. Of course, we are doing it the African way every day, every time. Africa is our business. And when I talk about Africa, I talk about reforms we need to do in Africa. We need to do agriculture reforms, educational reforms, political reforms. A lot of things needs to be done so that we can be able to liberate Africa. Now, I'm going to talk about Ibrahim Traoré. He has mastered the plans and he has mastered the ways of reforming Africa. There's a way, sometimes back I talked about education, how he has come up with education so that he can liberate Africa through education. Again, today we are talking about agricultural reform. This is one of the things he has mastered. One of the things is working so that he can change the face of Burkina Faso. And each and every leader in Africa who can do this and be perfect. First of all, before we continue, let's watch this video.
With the right government policies, farming techniques, and well-managed investments, Africa could produce more than enough food for itself and even become a major exporter. Achieving food self-sufficiency is vital to change the continent's narrative from one of poverty and dependence to one of prosperity and independence. Burkina Faso, under the leadership of Thomas Sankara in the 1980s, once achieved food self-sufficiency. Sankara implemented land redistribution and encouraged the cultivation of local staples like rice, maize, and millet. He believed that relying on imported food was a form of imperialism. Remarkably, by 1987, Burkina Faso's cereal production had soared to 1.6 million tons, prompting the then UN Special Rapporteur on the Right to Food, Jean Ziegler, to declare that Thomas Sankara had conquered hunger. Burkina Faso had become food self-sufficient in just 4 years, without any foreign aid. However, after Sankara's assassination, his vision was not sustained, and the country once again became reliant on food aid. Today, there is renewed hope under the leadership of Ibrahim Traoré, the current military leader of Burkina Faso. Traoré has been inspired by the ideals of Thomas Sankara and is committed to following in his footsteps. Like Sankara, Traoré is passionate about achieving food self-sufficiency for Burkina Faso. In a powerful speech at the Russia-Africa Summit, which brought him into the global spotlight, Captain Traoré questioned why Africa remains poor despite its abundant resources and urged African leaders to stop begging and focus on becoming self-sufficient. This is a goal he is determined to achieve. Since becoming president, Traoré has been relentless in his pursuit of food self-sufficiency for Burkina Faso. For 2024, one of his administration's primary objectives is to achieve this goal through two major agricultural programs launched in 2023, the Operation Agropastoral Offensive and the Presidential Initiative for Food Self-Sufficiency. These programs are designed to increase agricultural productivity and reduce the country's reliance on food imports. In February 2024, Traoré's administration launched a project supported by the African Development Bank to enhance food security in Burkina Faso. This initiative, known as the Emergency Project for Increasing Agricultural Production in Burkina Faso, was developed in response to the global food crisis exacerbated by the Russian invasion of Ukraine. The African Development Bank Group provided 38.4 million euros to support the project, which aims to supply nearly 9,000 tons of certified, climate-adapted seeds to 330,000 farmers. These seeds will help increase the production of maize, rice, soybeans, cowpeas, sorghum, and wheat. The project is expected to boost national rice production by 430,000 tons and maize production by 77,000 tons.
Whoever controls food controls the world. That's true, because we as human beings need food to survive. Even if you have good infrastructure, even if you have good technology, but at the end of the day, you need food. Food. And that's why white people are every day putting laws in these countries that have IMF loans, putting laws to control lands. They want to take the lands, because when they take the lands, they will deal with, they will invest in food productivity, and they will be the one controlling Africa and controlling the world. Again, you have seen in Kenya there's some bills being passed like housing projects. Personally, I think this is just a way to make sure citizens are out of their lands. Out of their lands, they go purchase these public lands or these government houses, and they forget about land. And when they forget about land, People, the system, they come, they take over, and they conquer food productivity. But Ibrahim Traoré, since he took power, he has started to invest deeply into agriculture. He has invested into agriculture because he know this is the backbone. Africa, we have good soil. Burkina Faso has good soil. A lot of countries has good soil that when we invest in agriculture, will be great. And that's what Ibrahim Traoré is doing. He has mastered the ways of changing the face of how Africa is. He has mastered the way of, of liberating Burkina Faso. And this is what all leaders must do. And they have failed us. They have failed us terribly. Instead of investing into agriculture, they are investing into things that does not help us. Okay? Now, let's talk about what agriculture reforms may bring benefit to Africa or to your country here. For example, reforming Africa or reforming agriculture can bring impacts, okay, across economy, social, and environmental dimension. And let's start with economy. When you talk about economic growth and poverty reduction, when you talk about agriculture productivity, increase in agriculture productivity, we talk about economic growth, we talk about poverty reduction. Because when you increase productivity through modern farming techniques, better seeds, and improved irrigation, this will increase crop yield. And when crop yield is being increased, we'll have plenty of food, we'll have plenty of, cash crops, and this will bring about the change. And the change that will bring about is by improving food security. These people in Africa were complaining that we are dying of hunger. All of this will end. All of this will end because Mother Africa is here to provide for us. What we need to do is us to wake up and decide, you know what, we want to invest our energy here. I see a lot of Africans running away from Africa, going to United States, going to West countries. They are leaving their lands dormant. And yet, those white people, they want to have land here. They want to access land here in our countries because they know the secret. Another thing, when you reform agriculture, economic growth will increase and we'll have job creation because a number of 60% of Africans people depends on agriculture. That is fact. 60% of youths and women, they rely in agriculture. And when we do that, it will be good for us because it can create more job opportunities. Okay, it can, especially the youths and women, it will expand agribusiness opportunities and people will have jobs through agriculture. People will have food through agriculture. So it's a way of job creation, it's a way of export growth. And when we have this export growth, it increases our foreign currencies. Our economic stability be strong because we export more. When we focus on cash crop and export this cash crop, it will increase our foreign exchange value. Trust me on that. So agriculture reforms, Ibrahim Traoré is focusing on this because he knows by doing this, it will increase job creation. By doing this, it will improve export growth. By doing this, it will increase productivity in the country. And this is one way of eradicating poverty from your country. And this, most of African leaders have failed to do this. They have failed terribly. They have big, large tracts of land sitting dormantly without anything. They cannot invest in irrigation. They cannot invest in dams. They cannot invest in, when there is rain, we have floods, but they cannot come up with a mechanism to store this water. And we're crying of hunger as Africans. A lot of people from outside Africa, they are labeling us as poor. They are labeling us as people who are dying with hunger. And these people who are laughing at us, they even don't grow anything. Now we have become a laughing stock because we are hungry. But by agriculture reform, will increase food security. And when food security and nutrition is there, we'll reduce hunger. Okay? We'll reduce hunger. And reducing hunger in Africa is one way of making Africans now to think straight. Because when you are hungry, you can't think straight. When you are hungry, you can't even think. What are you thinking? Because You will be thinking of what you are going to put in your stomach. That's all. You'll be thinking. But when we reduce hunger, we as the people will start thinking how to change Africa. We'll start thinking how to eradicate poverty. We'll start thinking how to eradicate corruption. We'll start thinking how to bring back Africa to the Africans. All these policies and laws are being put there so that people can suffocate and oppressed with the hunger. That's why you see Nigerians there, they are going to protest. But when Tinubu comes out with bags of rice, they go inside because of hunger. They take that bag of rice and they say, you know what, you just be in power. Even though you are corrupt, but at least you have given us food. Whoever controls food, controls the world. Another thing why we need agriculture reforms is to bring change of climate. I see summits, climate change summit, every now and then. People are going to meet to discuss about climate. This is not something that we need. This is not something that we need to discuss. It is past that, because when we improve agriculture, when we reform agriculture, we will deal with the drought and food management, okay, and flood management. Because when you plant trees, you avoid drought. When you do this, you avoid floods. So it's us to take care of this climate. It's us to take care of this motherland. And this is what Ibrahim Traoré has managed to know. No? It's amazing to see him buying tractors to the farmers. It's amazing to see them buying water pumps to the farmers, educating younger generation, the importance of farming, the importance of agriculture, giving them land so that they can practice this farming. It's amazing. It's amazing to see that happening. So agriculture reforms is one way of conquering the world, one way of Africa conquering the world. Another thing that we need in agriculture reforms, when it happens, it will do this. These rural areas. You find a rural area has bad infrastructure. There's no roads. There's no, they can't access market. The entire rural does not have electricity. But when we reform agriculture, those villages that are engaging into farming will have better roads, because you need roads to transport your products to better markets. So you'll have better roads and you'll have access to market easily. But when this rural area, we don't invest in agriculture, they will just live like that, day in, day come. You plant your products, no market, no good roads. So we need these reforms. We need these reforms. Again, by doing this, we will be empowering women. A lot of women in rural areas, large proportion are smallholder farmers. They practice farming so much. We will reduce dependency from imports, because I wonder why a country in Africa is depending on imports, food for imports, rice. We are importing plastic rice to the country, and yet we can grow rice here in Mwea Tebere irrigation farm. We can grow rice here in Mohoroni. We can grow rice, but we are depending on imports because our government has not invested in agriculture. We don't have the machineries. We don't have the resilience, the force to go in agriculture fully so that we can bring about the change in the entire world. Why do we have to import wheat flour where we have large lands of farms here where we grow wheat? Why do we have to import maize where we have large tracts of land sitting dormant because there is no way, you don't have way to plant on these lands because the government has oppressed you? No better seeds, no better technology, nothing. So we will reduce dependency from the export products, okay? Because another thing is technology improvement. When we do reforms of agriculture, we'll have technology improvement. It's as simple as like that. Because you see, Ibrahim Traoré is improving agriculture in Burkina Faso, and he bought new technology, tractors, water pumps, and etc. And that way, it will encourage the farmers. It will boost their morale. They will come along, making good use of it. A farmer is a farmer. A farmer is the backbone of the country. Farmers are the backbone of the world because they are the one who are producing this wheat flour, producing this rice, producing this maize and beans, producing this banana, But we opt going to import plastic rices and wheat flour from other countries simply because we cannot make ours. We cannot improve our agriculture sectors. We cannot improve our agriculture sectors. Why? Because we have corrupt leaders in power. We have leaders who are puppets, whom they just want to be controlled. They just want to rely on the masters. Every day, every time, the master is telling them, don't do that. When you do that, your people will be happy. When you do that, your people will now start depending on us. But you need to depend on us. You are being designed to be that poor. Don't try to do this. Don't try to reform agriculture. Don't try to liberate education. Don't try to change this culture. Use our culture. Our culture is evil. And by doing that, we end up in a circle of poverty. We end up crying every day that Africa is poor. And yet, we are the one who have caused this to us. We chose leaders because they gave us bribes. Now they can't do anything for us. I have seen the leaders. For example, I am from Kenya. I'm proud to be Kenyan. And here our president is William Ruto. We had former President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Now, Uhuru family has large tracts of land. Some of them are just sitting there, dormant. William Ruto, before he goes in power, he had cases of grabbing lands simply because he wanted to own land. They know very well whoever owns land owns the world. Whoever owns land owns the country. That's why they are fighting. You see, why are you grabbing this land and yet you are a president or vice president? Why? Because he knows this land is the future. And I salute Ibrahim. I salute him because he knows where to touch to change Burkina Faso. Agriculture, security. In security, he has gone to look for Russia. He has left France because France, instead of putting peace and security, they are doing some backdoor things. Education. He knows the youths, the younger generation need to be educated, need to get that knowledge so that they can bring a better future. Cultural liberation. You saw he did away with these lawyers or judges wearing these wigs, white man's wigs. Cultural reforms is one of the best because our people will start thinking as us. We will connect with the mother nature. And when you connect with the mother nature, everything is going to be great. Ibrahim Traoré has mastered these tricks. And that's what he's doing. He's bringing reforms. And these reforms, no African leaders has ever thought of that. Maybe they think, but they cannot outshine the master. The master has put them somewhere in a check. And they're okay with it. And they are leaving you to suffer, to die with that hunger. And yet you have a land. Tell me what you think on the comment section about this topic. Do you think Ibrahim Traoré has mastered? Has he? Do you think whoever owns food owns the world? Do you think food security or agriculture reforms is the way to go as Africa? What do you think? Tell me in the comment section. Until next episode, peace be with you.